Hi guys, welcome to this session on cooking on a budget. Just wanted to let you know that this is being recorded on Teams. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Yep.
Good, thank you. So thank you for joining. This workshop is technically for a seniors week or an adult learning weeks event. So we're going to go with that theme that we're doing that, and because we're doing it online today, we don't have to go too much into safety, but hopefully you're sitting at your desk comfortably and using your computers correctly so that you don't have any ergonomic injuries that occur. So that's just a little bit about computer safety, but just a little bit about MCC. Thank you for joining us at Macquarie Community College for this event. And we are a very old community college. We're 75 years old this year. And we have a range of different courses available in our leisure and lifestyle section, which this workshop is coming out of that sort of thinking. And we also have our RTO side. So that's just a little bit about MCC. So I hope you got your handout in the email that we sent you.
Yeah.
And we'll be asking some feedback at the end, if that's okay. So this workshop is about cooking on a budget, which is something that I guess these days everybody's quite mindful of. So we're going to just be going through each of the slides, and there'll be time for like some group discussion and some group planning, and hopefully by the end of the session we'll be able to have a bit more knowledge, including me, about how to plan a successful menu with any given budget. So that's the plan. Oops, lost my screen, sorry. Okay, so I just went through all that, but there we go. Welcome to, if we were in class, I'd tell you where the bathrooms were and I'd tell you about the refreshments we're going to have, but as it is, we're online, so that's not really relevant. So an introduction to our session, we will be thinking about the cost of living, why you're here, how to save money. We want to try and think of how to eat healthy for our families, planning, shopping, prepping, and fun with suggestions and a little bit of a group activity, and then be getting your feedback. So you've both joined today. So why have you joined? What's brought you to this session today? Kirsten?
I'm always concerned about planning menus, and I can use any ideas at all. So I'm very excited to get some new tips.
Great, thank you. Lachlan?
Yeah, same. I love the idea of getting a different perspective. I've got a young family, so a budget is a big concern for us. And yeah, some different ideas and how to make that food kind of go a bit further is always fun.
Yeah, well, that's great. Well, that's good. I'm glad you've both joined today. So we're going to kind of be thinking about planning, and this is based on a fortnight. And when we first did this workshop, I did it with my boss, and we played a game like Ready, Steady, Cook, because it was on site at our Blacktown office. And so we kind of had two groups, and we based it on getting a box of shopping from one of those food banks. So we kind of went and got a box from the food bank, and we looked what was in it, and then we kind of planned our menu from there just to see how we could make our buck go further. Of course, you get a box of shopping from those places for about $10, but that is for people in need. It's not just generally for everybody, but we were just sort of working with that idea, and then we went and costed it out at a regular grocery store to see how much, it would cost. And so my boss, Stuart, he had his menu and I had my menu, and then we were kind of at a race against each other, which was quite fun. And that's how we came up with this idea about turning it into a bit of a workshop. We made quite a lot of mess, I've got to say, but everyone got lots of yummy tasting samples. So we're going to have a look at the recipes that we've got here that are a bit of an idea for a fortnight's worth of meals. And then we're going to think about when we're doing our shopping, using up everything we buy in that fortnight. And so planning menus around what you shop, thinking about trying to waste nothing, which is always a bit tricky if you look in your crisper at the end of a fortnight. There's usually a few kind of dead things hanging around that we could have maybe used. Trying to stick to our budget and considering shopping online to save money. Do you guys shop online at all, or do you go to the supermarket?
I don't have
Um,
enough stuff to buy to shop online.
You're going to make the minimum. My partner was not very conscious of how much things cost in the past, and then since having their two boys, she's shopped online and found that she can obviously stick to a budget, but then find deals, not overspend. Yeah, so that definitely helps us.
Oh, that's good.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
something to
Stops
think
those
about.
impulse purchases, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
having the kids hanging off you, you kind of give in to those impulse purchases sometimes.
Yeah. I used to teach retail before, so I used to learn about all the little tricks in retail.
Mm.
And so obviously supermarkets want you to spend as much money as they can possibly get you to spend. And so they have their items placed in certain areas which they know is compulsory buying for the public, and they know where we look, and we
Mm.
kind of, you kind of look from between your sort of your hips and your eyes is where all the stuff they want you to buy is. And then often if you like to buy something that's a little bit more healthy, it'll be like right down the bottom. Or
Mhm.
for example, I buy washing soda because I like to make my own washing powder, and washing soda, sometimes you just can't find it, but it's there. But you've got to just sort of really search for it because they want you to buy the washing powder, they don't want you to buy
Mhm. Mhm.
soda. So
Mm.
so supermarkets are quite clever at targeting people to spend, especially if you've got children with you.
Yeah.
So we need to be able to beat them at their own tricks, I guess. And so one of the good ways is obviously to write a list before you go shopping, and to stick to your list. If you're going to be in person, then stick to your list. If you're going to do it online, it's a lot easier to stick to your list, and you can see how much everything's going to cost, and then you can remove things that you think, oh, I don't really need that or whatever. And plus you can see what's on special a little bit easier as well. There's apps now you can get. I don't have it on my phone, but people have shown me where they'll compare all the
Mm.
Coles, or worse than Aldi. There's a particular app,
Really?
that will tell you all the weekly specials and compare prices for you. So that's also something to
Yeah,
think about.
because it's makes such a difference. Like I buy this coffee, um, it's $40 normally, but it goes on half price. Same with like
Yeah,
the Twinings tea, they go on half price. I never buy those things full price because I know that if you just have to wait and they go
Mm.
half price means you save $20.
it's
Yeah,
a
that's
lot, isn't it?
huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I try to
Amazing.
do that with my tea too. When I see it on special, I grab like quite a few packets, and then hopefully I don't have to buy it until it's on special again. Works most
Mm.
of the time. Yeah. One of the other things that we think about is having a prep day. So recently, my daughter went on a trip overseas, and she needed to save a whole lot of money before she went. And I said, "Oh, come and do this plan we have, this workshop we have that we've created, and see if it saves you money." So she did, and then she was able to save quite a bit of money. So she just did the one lot of shopping a fortnight, was fairly strict about not going back, except for maybe for a few fresh things once. And then she
Mhm.
had a prep day where she prepped all the food that she bought as much as you can within the plan, and she knew what she was eating, and was all pretty healthy, and it just worked out really well. So, like anything, if you plan to succeed, you're more likely to succeed rather than if you just pop to the shops every day. Some people like to pop to the shops every day. That's a very expensive way of feeding your
Mhm.
family. So this is the example that we've got, is one menu. This is for 2 people for 2 weeks. Keeping in mind we were creating this from a food bank box, so it mightn't be the healthiest lot of options you might want, but it's just an example. Menu 1 for 2 people for 2 weeks, and then you repeat the menu for the second week. So you're having a bit of variety, and then there's another fortnight idea as well. So this is sort of like doing one shop and then using up everything in the shops. This is some ideas of a way you could do that. So one spaghetti bolognese, a roast chicken dinner, a shepherd's pie, rice paper rolls, curry chicken, vegetable lasagna, veggie and pork mince fritters, and then I've got a little dialogue box in front of that, and I can't see what it says. Sides: vegetable, potato, rice, and salad. They're the sides that you would have with those meals. So that's the first example of the first menu. And then we've got a shopping list here that would include all of the items that you would need. This is just for 2 people, 2 adults. And then over here, I've got the Woolworths online shop docket to show you how much that cost. And it was $119.42, but you need to add salad costs to that list, which sounds quite cheap. $120 for the fortnight. Say you add the salads, say it was another $20, so $140 for adults for 2 weeks, but it's only the dinner. Okay, we haven't thought about the breakfast and the lunch and the toilet paper and the dishwashing liquid, but yeah.
Hopefully no one's eating that.
I know. Good point. Yeah, so that was the price to buy that amount of ingredients for that menu. And then there's the prep day. So the prep day is you have to allow like a good 4 or 5 hours to be able to get everything organized and cook. And this is the process for the prep day. So we sort of you can do it, and this is the sort of thing we did in our Ready Steady Cook. And I created kind of basically all those meals, and I only had an hour, so it was it was quite tricky. So you cook all the beef mince with the garlic, with the carrots, and a bag of onions. I throw in celery as well, and then so once that's all cooked, so I probably already had that prepped on the day. You separate that into 2, so one half of that's going to become one thing, and the other half that's going to become the shepherd's pie.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, so you cooked all that up. So then you've used up 6 carrots and your onions, so that they're used up. So then you create the 2 mince dishes and separate them into serves. So one's going to become the bolognese, one's going to become the shepherd's pie. So whilst you've done that, that's going to have 4 serves of spaghetti bolognese and 4 serves of shepherd's pie. So also, obviously, say while you're cooking that, you might have the pasta boiling and the potatoes cooking for the shepherd's pie, the pasta for the spaghetti bolognese. Or if you don't want to do that, then you can do it later. But, potatoes aren't really going to go off and pasta's not going to go off. So you could maybe do half of it or all of it. So with the chicken, I swapped this out into chicken Marylands, but we'll just go with this whole thing. So you roast the chicken, you separate the legs and the thighs, and that's going to become our roast dinner. So it's 2 chickens in this shopping. So you've got 4 chicken Maryland pieces, which becomes 4 roast dinners. And then you get the rest of the chicken and you shred it, and you're going to use that then for the curry. So you can see how that breaks that up. So it's a good idea to cook all that and then freeze it, because then you're not worrying about the chicken going off and defrosting it on the day or anything like that. So then you make the curry and you separate that into 4 serves and freeze it. We've got the recipe here to do these things with in the handout. And then you're going to prep and chop all the veggies for the vegetable lasagna, and you're going to cook that. That's an easy thing to put together because we're just using already made organic pasta sauce. And I think we use ricotta for the cheesy sauce and a bit of sour cream. And so it's really easy to put that together. It's just a matter of chopping it up and throwing it together. And then prepare the fritter mix, and you cook those and then you freeze them. So when my daughter did this, she lives on her own. So she did this recipe. It was kind of enough for all her 3 meals for one person for 2 weeks. It worked out. She had fritters for breakfast. She had, vegetable lasagna for breakfast and things like that. So it worked out well. So that's the idea of having the prep day. Does anybody have any questions?
So can you go back to that slide again, please? The previous slide. So basically what you're saying is that all of that can be done on one day for people who work full time, and then they can just turn up at home or take it out of the freezer, whatever, and then it's ready. So there's no prep to be done on the actual day of eating.
Well, there wouldn't have to be, but like maybe you didn't cook the potatoes for your shepherd's pie, and maybe you didn't cook the pasta for your spaghetti bolognese. You might have to do that, and you might have to make a salad and add to it, things like that.
So you got half of it done anyway.
Yeah, basically all the hard work's done.
And the decision, which is actually the hardest.
So yeah, every time I do this workshop, I think, yeah, why aren't I doing this?
Yeah. I think
Gotta
I'd
get
have
back
to
to it.
freeze it. I know myself, my self-control, I'd end up eating, 3 dinners in one night
Oh, well, no,
because it all
you-
sounds so good. So yeah, I think that
well,
freezing is a good idea.
yeah, we definitely have to freeze it. Otherwise,
Mm.
like I bought broccoli last week from the fruit and veg shop because I like to buy organic veggies when I buy my veggies, and it was on the checkout table, so it was not the best broccoli, but it's all they had, and it was like I think 3 or 4 quite large heads, and I thought, well, that's not going to last. So I just, as soon as I got home, I put a pot of water for my steamer, and I just quickly chopped it up and put it, and I just steamed it. Took me a few times because it was quite a bit, and then I just froze it. And I've got
Yeah.
got a huge bag of frozen broccoli now to go. But if I had put that in the fridge, I bet you it would have ended up as one of those dead things in the back of the
Yeah.
crisper. Anyway, this is the staples you'll need for a fortnight, and you need to maintain that, which is just your basic, stock powder, sauces, and things like that you need for those particular recipes.
What's MYO gravy? Make your own.
Make your own. So I've got Grey Box or make your own.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. I try to prepare this workshop for everyone in mind because not everybody likes to buy different things, don't they? So here we've got a little time to make a list for suggestions for our group of, like, just say if you were going to what's 3 ideas of something that you guys like to cook, like a regular thing.
I like to do stir fries.
Mm.
Stir fries are pretty versatile and quick.
Quick, yeah.
Yeah. I do one of those. I do a mint stir fry with those big Hokkien noodles. It's almost
yum.
exactly like it's like the Asian version of spaghetti.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And just change the flavors.
Yeah, I do a lot of mints like that actually, and play with the flavors. So it could be a more Italian or an Asian, or a more like Southern with, like, barbecue smoked flavors, and
like a
it's pretty
chili or something, a
versatile.
Mexican
Yep.
one, or
Yep.
yeah. I'm definitely, because it's quite good value mints, isn't it, compared to other
Yeah.
things?
Yeah,
But
like even the other day I did a bunch of mints and then we didn't eat it, so then I did homemade pizzas. So you can just grab all the staples out of the fridge that are going bad, and the mints went over the top.
that's a great idea, actually. And the other thing,
Homemade
which is
pizzas.
quite good for pizzas, is using Lebanese bread. And you
Mhm.
can just as
Mhm.
the base, and as you say, using up all your leftovers with the
Yeah.
Lebanese bread and a little bit of sauce, and Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, that sounds great. Well,
Yeah.
all those things you could easily just alter that shopping list that I already had there, but I usually just take all this down and then send an email afterwards of a little kind of menu plan for people.
Mm.
It's
But
nice.
so mince is so good. You can do so many nice. You can do, and like mince is cheaper than other meat, but I mean it's still quite expensive, isn't it? Like nothing's
be,
that
yeah.
cheap these days. So
Mm.
it's sort of
But
very expensive to eat.
what's quite good is one thing my kids like is getting those little, like the pesto sauce and
Oh, yeah.
pasta, and putting it with salmon. So you get something that's
Yeah.
quite expensive, but that's quite strong in flavor. And if you mix it in with like the pesto and the pasta, you've got a very delicious dish that's taken the salmon much further. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that salmon
Do you
pesto
mean like
pasta is,
salmon steak sort of thing?
or the fillets, and I just get those
Fillets, yeah.
frozen, the frozen bags,
Yeah.
because it's in the pasta. You don't have it like a piece of salmon on the plate, which you want to get the nicer ones, because it's mixed in. It doesn't matter if it's, and actually at times I've even used tin salmon, although tin salmon's quite expensive as well. But that frozen, it can go on special, and you just put it through. So the other thing we do is we get the frozen prawns, and we do the Valcom curry mix for the green curry, or one of those.
Oh yeah.
They're always really nice.
Is that like a prepared Thai curry paste or something?
Yeah, but the curry pastes are quite good because they're they're just the spices. It's not
Yeah.
like there's a lot of fillers in there like some of the
Yeah.
other mix-up
Yeah, it's
mix-up
just a
ones.
paste, right? Not
Mm.
extra sugar and cornstarch and oil and
Yeah,
like 3 peas.
yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like it's more healthy. If you read the
Absolutely
ingredients,
agree.
Yeah.
it's better those really strong paste ones rather than
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
rather than the jar of sauce sort of thing.
Yes,
Correct.
yes.
Yeah.
I would never use a
Yeah.
jar of sauce, not even to make pasta. I'm a bit thinking
Mm.
about that. Although I
Yeah.
suppose it's all fine, but they do have a lot of sugar.
They have
Yeah.
a lot of all sorts of stuff in them. You might as well just use the paste and some coconut milk or something.
That's
Make your
exactly
own.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right. Yeah, because there's not
Yeah.
that much to add, as you say, tin of tomatoes and the paste rather than the
That's
whole big
enough.
jar,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
which has got all the preservatives as well.
So you just buy
Um,
frozen green prawns then?
Yep, frozen
Yeah.
green prawns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's always good to get lots of ideas off each other when you're thinking about trying to save money and trying to get a little bit creative, because sometimes it can get a
Mm-hmm.
little bit boring, can't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
because like if you're out for dinner and you order a prawn pasta, you get like 6 prawns, right? In
Yeah.
your pasta, don't you? So you don't need a lot.
No,
No.
that's exactly right. And that's the thing too, which I think is a bit difficult. You know, you think something's expensive, but actually the expensive things you don't need a lot of it. So
Yeah.
it goes further and it's healthier as well because there's no fat in prawns, you know,
Yeah.
and so you've got to really think about how much, like you buy some of those big rolled meat things, but there's a lot of fat in them. So you're paying for all of the fat. Whereas if you
Extra.
buy the prawns, there's no fat. You can eat everything.
They're great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, that's good. Well, that's some great ideas. Thanks for sharing
A
your
slow cooker is
ideas.
another good thing.
Oh,
Slow
yeah.
cooker.
I'm a
Mm.
slow cooker. Yeah. Sorry, your little firefly thing's coming up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
slow
no.
cookers are great. And I saw this lady on Instagram the other day. She put the rice in, she put everything in the slow cooker. I haven't done
Yeah.
that. I haven't put like rice in. I don't know what happens to that, but I guess it
Yeah,
will be
we've done
okay.
it with pasta, similar thing, pasta, water,
Yeah.
sauce, everything. Put the lid on, go to work, come home, and then just mix it all up. It's more like a kind of pasta bake, but yeah, really good, really
But
good.
you don't put much water in still, because you don't, with a slow cooker, you don't put much water in, do you? Or do you put,
Depends if you've put rice or pasta. You still need to put a significant amount, as it
okay,
absorbs. But also your veggies, like if you've got really like kind of watery, or water dense veggies, they can kind of sweat out a fair bit.
yeah.
You want a recipe for that sort of thing because whenever I do
Yes,
stuff like
correct.
that, it can
You
be
come
a little
home and you've
bit hit
just
or
got
miss.
Yeah, I want to know 1 cup of rice and how much water. I remember my husband, he likes to get creative. Not so much, he's much better now because he's been getting creative for a long time. But when he first started to get creative, I always think when men get a bit older, they just have this thing where they like to start cooking and doing all sorts of cleaning and all sorts of annoying things. But anyway, we used to tease him and say we were going to buy him a water cookbook because he just kept adding like way too much water to like everything he cooked. And one time he cooked a slow cooker and it was just like full of water. I thought,
oh
no,
no.
you just can't add. I've learnt with slow cookers, the less moisture you put in there,
Yeah.
often the better they are. So I'd
Yeah,
like a
because it
recipe
can
as
get
well.
condensation drips
Correct.
down. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a hot
Yeah.
tip for anyone doing like a roast. If you want that shredded beef, like a pork rib or something like that, is to fill your water level just before it's above your ingredients. Then cut out a little bit of baking paper, put that on top, then put the lid on. And it for some reason
Oh,
it just kind of simmers like that under the paper, and it
Okay.
makes the meat so much more tender.
In the
There
slow
you go.
cooker.
Yep, in the slow cooker. Yeah, because
Oh,
I
so
okay.
really
you would
like.
cut it into the shape of the cooker so that it fits
Yeah,
exactly?
and you pierce like the tiniest hole in there to let it kind of like come out so it doesn't just absorb in. Um, yeah, and I've seen it from chefs working in industry where they do it on big chafing dishes. They put in the oven and they'll cover it with some sort of parchment or baking paper.
Okay.
And I thought, I'll give that a try. Worked
Yeah.
wonders. Yeah. So
Nice.
if you
Yeah.
know, do either of you eat beef massaman from Thai? beef massaman.
Yeah.
Only
it-
in a restaurant.
Yeah. I've tried so many times at home, and the beef is always chewy. This is the way to get it that kind of shredded.
Wow.
So
There you
is
go.
that already cut up into pieces, that beef, or is it?
Yeah, so you cut up, it depends what type of beef you want to use, but you can kind of use any and then just sear it off in the pan, like give it a good sear, throw it in, throw everything else in, a little bit of stock or water. Yeah, and then that secret little bit
Okay.
of paper.
Secret little bit of paper. Well, that's a very good trick. Thank you. I
Baking
would
paper.
love to
Don't
learn
just throw
something
in a
new.
bit of
Yeah,
newspaper.
baking paper. Yeah.
Or toilet
Not-
paper. We won't
Yeah,
put that
Yeah,
up for.
that's too expensive.
Not your A4, not your A4 piece of office paper. No, baking
Yeah.
paper. Good idea. Okay, so a couple of questions. Were you surprised at the cost of the example of $120 a fortnight, or not really?
I was when I read that it was 120, but then when I thought about what you're saying, if you break that up and separate it into the designated meals, it goes a long way. Whereas I think one of the problems with when I cook fresh is it might make 4 servings, but I'll go back for a second,
Yeah,
or
that's
and
always
then
tempting, isn't it?
very quickly your meal hasn't
Yeah,
gone as far. So yeah,
yeah,
it works out to be quite good, I think.
yeah. Well, it's a bit of food for thought with a bit of a pun there. Do you feel
Yeah.
inspired after attending this workshop today to
Yeah,
try and?
absolutely.
Yeah, I always inspire myself. I think, yeah,
I
get
feel
better at it.
hungry
Yeah,
as well.
it's about being organized, isn't it? Like I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
being organized is really important, not just doing everything like tonight I've got to rush up and get. No, I don't. Yeah, because we're
yeah,
busy tonight, aren't we? But anyway.
Yeah.
yeah. Think about that. Well, thanks for
Mm.
joining today. And if you have any other questions, yell out. Otherwise, could you fill out the feedback form? And I hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you for
Yes.
joining, and return to another MCC event anytime.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you, Liz.
Liz.
Thank you. Thank
Will
you
Thank
very
do.
much.
you.
Yay.
Hang on. Stop recording. Oh, I'm still getting so clever